No success in the world can compensate for failure in the home. That's why Club Wealth was founded, to help driven, successful, and busy real estate agents like you double their business while building a strong, balanced home life. Join us each week as high-producing agents and team leaders share their stories and unpack the principles and systems they've used to double, triple, and even quadruple their business while enjoying greater quality of life. And now, here's the latest episode of Club Wealth TV.
Right on. All right. Good morning, everybody. Michael Hellickson here with Club Wealth Coaching and Consulting, and I am super stoked to be bringing you another edition of Club Wealth TV. And today I've got with me as my co-host, Coach Kelly Revore, the hostess with the mostest. So, dude, stoked to have Kelly with us. Yeah, and it's funny because Kelly and I, just before we got started, we were talking about how excited we are about getting back to Hawaii for another mastermind in paradise. And dude,
we are counting down the months next February. I cannot wait.
Oh man, I'm just like, can't it be today?
I know.
Like, totally ready to go back. So it was awesome though. What a great event. I seriously like that. And don't get me wrong, I love our big events as well, but there's just something about, getting just a very small handful of really high producers in a room together that makes it just free. And especially when you go to someplace tropical, like freaking Maui, and you get to have this awesome experience. So anyway, super fun.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That being said, Kelly, tell everybody what markets you serve.
I serve Southwest Missouri. So if anybody is familiar with Springfield, Missouri, Branson, Missouri area. So Southwest Missouri is where I'm from.
So pretty much anything you guys have in Southwest Missouri, shoot it her way. And then before I introduce our guest today, I want to remind you guys of our sponsor. We have a sponsor that makes it possible for us to do all this stuff. And that is Wise Hire. And let me tell you, we freaking love Wise Hire. Use the heck out of them. And they are responsible for countless hires, whether it's administrative or, in fact, we just hired an administrative assistant through Wise Hire this last week. In fact, she starts this coming week. And so, we love Wise Hire. And if you haven't done so already, check out clubwealth.com/Wise Hire. And if we could get Auberry or Tara to put that link in the chat here, that would be fantastic. So that being said, I want to introduce our guest today. From Nashville, Tennessee, is Josh Anderson. Josh last year did $2.6 million in gross commission income on 215 units, and 75% of that was from his sphere of influence and or some other type of referral. So we're going to dig deep into that. It's very interesting statistics. Only 25% of his business coming from signs, open houses, Google reviews. And I got to tell you, Google reviews was very interesting. I want to hear more about what you're doing with Google reviews because not a lot of people are doing that. And so I definitely want to find out what's happening there. And then, of course, Zillow reviews. So that being said, Josh, welcome to Club Wealth TV. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Josh Anderson. I'm originally from Nashville and been in the business for 13 years. So got in the business in April of 2006, which was kind of the tail end of it being good. And then it kind of went downward from there. But, I think I learned I didn't have money starting out in the business. So, for me, it was a big piece of it was just doing the basics and kind of digging into making phone calls, doing lots of open houses, and really just when you don't have money, you just get resourceful.
So, it's interesting because a lot of people, they always want to see the magic pill and what is it that, really worked for you? And what is it that you're doing so vastly different than anybody else? And what I'm hearing you say is really not a lot. Is that
correct? The big piece, I've tried all of it. And every time I've tried it, I've kind of kicked myself when I paid for a lead source that I knew wasn't really going to work. It was just trying it to figure it out. I think at the end of the day, I always came back to picking up the phone, shaking hands, kind of face to face, breaking bread with people. And really, that's just what works for me. And it's not for everybody, but I think realtors are always looking for the shiny object. We're always looking for the next easy way to, you sell one house and it pays for it for the next year. And, it takes work to work your database and to talk to all of your past clients and add value. But for me, that's just what has continued to work consistently.
So talk to us about that. Talk to us about your sphere of influence and what you're doing to get business out of it. I mean, come on, let's face it, it's 161 transactions by referral. Not, that's out of those 215 total transactions. That's a pretty big number. So what is it you're doing to get that?
Yeah. So, locally, a big piece of it is, we're calling our clients 4 times a year. We're sending them mailers. We're adding value. We're connecting with them on different social sites, but also connecting them to other clients of ours. And then we're doing 4 to 6 client events a year. And so the client events we have always kind of done. And it's just one of those things that it gives us the opportunity. Some of our clients, we don't get to see that often. And it gives us the opportunity to really, pick up the phone, call them, invite them, then see them, and then be able to follow up with them afterward. And there's probably 50% of our past clients that can't come to certain types of events, but it really doesn't matter. It's part of the touch. And so we've done big dinner parties at my house catered for our top 50 referral sources. And that probably cost $10,000, but it was, people are still talking about it, but it was a big event. But, the people that were being invited to that all live in $750,000 to $2 or $3 million houses. And so they're good referral sources. We've also done happy hours that cost next to nothing. What we've found on our happy hours was people are not going to drive all over town to get a free beer. So, it was one of those things we've kind of pulled back from that and done more, ice cream socials or doing a community event that's got the Boy Scouts or some nonprofit attached to it. And really kind of getting engagement. My office building that I bought a couple of years ago is right next to Vanderbilt University, and it's in it's on either side of 2 historic neighborhoods. So we've really, little things like putting out, children at play signs, giving them to all the neighbors, and just getting involved in the neighborhood, really.
Okay, that's cool. So talk to me about, these client events that you've done. First of all, we subscribe to the belief that you should do 4 client events per year, right? So I'm glad to hear that you're doing that. But you said you're contacting, I want to come back to the actual client events themselves, find out more about what you're doing there. But tell me about the phone calls. So you're calling your clients 4 times a year. Is that just to invite them to the client event, or is there something else you're doing in terms of calls to your sphere of influence?
Yeah, it's a combination of things, but the client events make it really easy to pick up the phone, because I think what happens with realtors, and whatever the NAR statistic is, 83% of homeowners would use their agent again, but only 22% actually use them. And I think what happens is you work so intimately with a buyer client for, 2 or 3 or 6 months, and then you get to the closing table and everybody's happy and you give them a big hug and whatever, and then they go on their way and you get back to, business as usual. And time passes and you don't really, it gets to that awkward point of what do I pick up the phone and say to them? Because I don't really have anything to actually say. And so I think the client events give us an easy opportunity to pick up the phone and invite them, even if it's a voicemail. So they're getting that. They're getting an Eventbrite or a paperless post. They're getting a postcard in the mail. So, they're getting touched multiple times on that, with regard to that client event, a text message, a phone call, an email, and then a postcard.
So Josh, do you do any kind of an automatic drip for these? Do you use any program that sends out text messages and reminder texts, or do you have somebody that literally types that in every day?
So we use a couple of different systems as far as being able to send out a mass text that kind of comes back as it looks like an individual text. But, as far as I don't put any of my past clients or current clients on a drip campaign. I just don't. I just think it feels very canned and drippy, and I just don't love it. So I don't do it. I think if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing to our actual clients and referral sources and our vendors, and we're adding value, I don't think you need to put them on a drip campaign as much as just a buyer lead that came in off the website type of thing. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it seems impersonal when you do that, obviously. So I'm loving what you're doing in terms of the phone calls. And, here's the thing. Everybody's always looking for the magic pill, right? Mm-hmm. The fact of the matter is there is no magic pills. You're still making phone calls, even though it's by referral. You're still making phone calls to people that have done business with you or referred you in the past. True or false?
Yeah, true. I mean, the magic pill is this: pick up the phone, add value, work hard, outwork the competition. That's all there is to it. Like I haven't figured out a different way of building my team and building our business. It just takes work.
Yeah.
And you can automate some things and you can have tools and systems, but it's still work. Like there's
you can over automate. And so many people, we hear this all the time, but people still forget it every day. This is a relationship business. You need to get belly to belly with your clients so that they remember you. If you treat them like a transaction, that's all they're going to treat you like is a transaction. And they're never going to build a relationship with you for referrals.
That's right.
100%.
It's funny because Kelly, to your point, automation is the big thing, right? Everybody's like, oh, we got to automate. We got to have autoresponders. We got to have AI, artificial intelligence. We got to have, all this different technology and spend all this money on this stuff. And the reality is, are those things helpful to some degree? Sure. I don't want it to completely discredit those things. And yet we really do have to get back to the basics of, look, I'm going to develop relationships with people. Now, Wendy asks, and Wendy, this is a good point. And so Josh, you're sending out text messages, mass text messages. Is that right?
Correct.
What system are you using for those mass text messages?
So we've used Callfire and we've used Slide Broadcast, and those have worked for us. I know there's Mighty Text and there's a couple others out there that people use. That this is kind of like a CRM. It's the best one is whichever one you're going to use, and that's just what I started using. It's kind of like people probably think I'm crazy for using Top Producer still. I still use it. It still works for me. I've been using it for 12 and a half years, and I've fought it so many times, and I've always come back to it because I log in and it tells me exactly what I need to do.
Okay, so you said Slide Broadcast, Mighty Text, and what was the other one?
Callfire.
Oh, Callfire, that's right. Okay, perfect.
Now, and so I think this is a topic that's the whole back to basics, working your sphere. I think it's such an important topic, but I also think it's a topic that realtors really don't want to talk about because they fight it so much. And it's just like, there's got to be another way. There's got to be something creative I can do, something shiny. And one of my mentors told me about 3 or 4 years ago when I was kind of getting a little bit burnt out because it was so mundane. He was like, success is boring. And I was like, oh my God, I needed to hear that so badly because I wake up every single day and do the exact same thing I've been doing since day one. And my time blocking and my ideal daily schedule 13 years ago was very different than it is today. It shifts, but I think there's 5 things in the business that people really, really need to get comfortable with mastering to be successful. And I can elaborate on all of them, but it's beyond your database or beyond your sphere and your past clients. It's lead generation. Pick one besides your sphere. It's time blocking. It's knowing your numbers because they don't lie. It's having a database and adding value to it and feeding it and then getting something back from it. And then the last one is knowing your scripts. And I think scripts is a really dirty word in real estate and probably all sales. But scripts at the end of the day is just knowing the language of real estate. And I look at a script as a skeletal outline of a conversation and knowing when to inject the right questions into that conversation. And so digging deep and figuring all that out. And nobody really wants to master their scripts, but the people that do convert at such a higher level. And those 5 things are just, in my opinion, you have to, if you want to do this at a high level, you've got to master them.
Hey, Josh, Can you list those off again, please? Because I know a lot of people are scrambling to take notes right now.
Kelly, while he's listing those off, will you type those into the Facebook chat?
Absolutely.
Dude, you rock. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's lead generation. It's pick one and master it. You just have to do it. I think people get so caught up in it, kind of the analysis paralysis of like, what's the perfect script? What am I going to say to these people when I do lead generate and pick up the phone? And so it's pick one form of lead generation besides your SOI. The second thing is your ideal daily schedule and time blocking. And of the 5 things, I think this one's the most important. I see everybody, somebody picks up the phone, somebody calls an agent at 9 o'clock in the morning and they're like, oh my God, I go show this property. And it just screws up their whole day. And so for me, all these other things are important, but if you don't know how to time block, you could have the best database in the world. And if you don't know how to work the database and time block time in your schedule to make those phone calls, doesn't matter how great your database is. Know your numbers. I mean, I didn't do this for probably the first 5 years I was in the business. I kind of vaguely knew them, but know your numbers. They don't lie. They just don't. If you know how many contacts it takes to set an appointment and how many appointments you have to set to keep an appointment and what your conversion ratio is, how many people you talk to in an hour on average. I mean, those are things that make massive differences. Like we've started talking about, what are we converting on our sign calls? And then other things is we're at about 1.75 to 2 offers written per accepted. And most people in our market's probably at 4 or 5. And when you think about how many hours you put into having to go back out and schedule showings, actually do the showings, write the offers for the clients, if you can lower that number by a half of a point, I mean, it's saving you hundreds of hours a year if you're doing 30, 50, 60, 75 transactions. So it's a massive number. So know your numbers. Database, it doesn't matter. I started with Excel. Like it doesn't matter what your database or your CRM is. Just pick one and use it and feed it, add value to it. It's kind of like Gary Vee's book. It's jab, jab, punch or jab, jab, hook. Like add value, then ask for business. Because if you're adding enough value, they're going to feel obligated to give you business back or connect you with somebody. And then the last one is scripts. Just know the language of real estate. Ask the right questions. Dig deep. Most agents want to wing scripts, and really they're kind of cheating themselves because when you wing it, you're winging your business. So that's my rant. Sorry.
No, I'm loving all of this, by the way. I think this is great. And I'm assuming, Kelly, you're getting those all typed in. And
yep, it's in there now.
Dude, thank you very, very much. By the way, before we move on, I want to ask everybody who's watching, we got a bunch of people watching right now. I want to know what percentage of your business comes from repeat referral clients and or some kind of sphere of influence related activity. If you could just type it in as a percentage of your overall business, that would be huge. 10%, 20%, 70%. Just type that into into the chat here in Facebook, because I really am curious as to how much of our audience's business is coming from these sources. Now, I will tell you that about 6 years ago, 61% of the average agent's business came from repeat and referral clients, and that number dropped down to 44% for the first 5 years, and then it dropped all the way down to 41% last year. What I'm curious about is, Josh, what do you think of that trend that, it seems to be a downward trend? First of all, what do you think is causing it? Second of all, what do you think that means overall for the industry and for individual agents? And is this something that is an anomaly? Is this something that is agent specific that can be solved? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say first, I'm actually amazed that it was at 61% 5 years ago. Because I know I talk to consumers that just bought a house in the last year and they can't name who their realtor was, which is mind blowing to me. I'm surprised that it's even dropped to 41%. I'm proud of the realtor industry for having 41%, but I think, part of that is probably technology. Part of it is, again, I don't think that we're adding value to our database. And I think that if we turn this industry into a transactional industry, then Zillow wins. And we can keep from Zillow winning, but we need to love on our clients. We need to do client events. We need to add value. We need to run our business like business people and not realtors. And we need to they need to go, you know what? There's no reason in the world that I would call anybody but Josh Anderson for Nashville, Tennessee. That's just what it is, in my opinion. The other piece, just breaking down my business, about 40 to 50 deals a year that we do come from realtor referrals. around the country. So that's Keller Williams, agents, as well as Remax and mom and pop shops. And so a big chunk of that is doing podcasts and webinars and going and speaking at different conferences. And really those people call me in between all that and ask me for advice. And I spend my time helping them because, I didn't get here by myself. Somebody helped me. Several people, dozens of people helped me.
Okay, so you're talking about I want to come back to that in just a second, because now you're starting to get into agent-to-agent referrals, and so I want to definitely address that, because we've got one of our coaches, Amy Freeman, is huge on agent-to-agent referrals. Did 37 transactions last year. In fact, maybe you want to tag her in here, Kelly. Okay. But she did 30. What 30? Is that right? 37 transactions last year from agent-to-agent referrals alone.
She did a ton.
Yeah, she's killing it. She's also one of our coaches. But, a lot of what she does is she goes out to different events and starts to get to know people at events. And then she created, in fact, I was just having this conversation with Coach DC Turner this morning, where she's created a map on Google. So she's literally just created a Google map, and all these agents that she meets all around the country, she puts them on this Google map. And then when she's in the Club Wealth Facebook group, or she's in one of the other Facebook groups out there and sees that somebody has a referral for Dallas, Texas, or Southwest Missouri, then she knows to tag DC or tag Kelly in it. And because she's now tagged them, they're now thinking about her. They're thinking, oh my gosh, how cool was that? She just tagged me in this potential referral opportunity. I kind of owe her one now. Next time I receive a referral in her area, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tag her as well. Are you doing anything like that?
We are. So we're doing, so we've got a referral database of all the agents that have referred us business, as well as outgoing, and then just people that we've networked with over the years. And we've done it on Google Maps, where it's got like a little pin. So you look at the different states, and we've got it where it's very visual. Other things we've done, we created a map of Tennessee, and it just kind of shows Middle Tennessee and areas written out of the areas that we work. So it's kind of an infographic of where all we work in Middle Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. So, that's huge.
Yeah.
Okay. So bottom line, you are doing something similar where you're tracking these agents. Are you tagging them? Are you making sure you friend them on Facebook and tag them in different posts and stuff like that? And,
Yep.
Okay. And I say this because you guys, this sounds really simple. And for those of you that are watching, I'm curious, how many of you have a referral map or some sort of very specific or at least somewhat organized referral partner program where you're connecting with agents around the country? So if you do, just say, I want you to describe that in the chat in the Facebook. I want to understand what you guys are doing. Let's turn this into a little bit of a mastermind, if you will. I want to understand this because I feel like not enough agents are really taking advantage of this. And I think there's a huge opportunity here. I mean, look at Amy. I mean, she's freaking crushing it with it. Kelly, are you doing this now too?
Yeah, we do have a referral map, very similar, just to Google Maps. Of course,
Okay.
anytime that I need an agent, first place I go is Club Wealth Member Locator. And if we don't have somebody close, then yeah, we revert to our map.
See, and that's huge. And by the way, I really appreciate you doing that. Let me ask this. I'm curious. Why is it? And I know you're a coach for Club Wealth and all that. And I know you're a client with Club Wealth and you have been for a long time. And so I know you're very loyal to Club Wealth and I really appreciate that. But tell me why, very seriously, why do you start with the member locator map when you're looking for agents to send a referral to?
So the reason that I start with Member Locator is because I feel like people that have signed up to be within Club Wealth, whether they're coaches or not, that they've taken the choice or they've made the choice to treat their business like a business. And if I just looked at somebody that was in the same brokerage company as myself, then you never know. I mean, you could just pick a name out of the hat. You don't know if they've sold anything. You don't know if they treat their business like a business. You don't know if they're going to follow up with your clients. Whereas I feel like if you're a member within Club Wealth and you've consciously made a choice to pay for coaching, to treat your business like a business, and you have the drive and the desire to do better. So that's why I start there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll buy that. That makes total sense. I mean, really though, I mean, it does. It makes sense to me. Okay, so that being said, When you don't find somebody there, then you go in and you post into the group, I'm assuming, which is what a lot of folks do. And so, all right, but you're also keeping that. So guys, those of you that are watching, I really want to know, very seriously, type in, what are you doing? So I'm getting a few comments like Dave Woods is like, amen, I trust them. And I agree, Dave. And, I think another part of that too is that, from a cultural standpoint, we're really picky about who gets to be in Club Wealth. If somebody's a jerk anyway, if somebody's not a good, somebody's not the kind of person that my kids or that I want my kids around, or that I want my team learning from, I wouldn't want them in Club Wealth, right? And so we're really picky about that. So not only from a production standpoint, but also from a personality standpoint, we're pretty confident that, hey, if I'm referring to a Club Wealth member, I'm probably safe. Now it's interesting. Katie Van Ness is saying, I layer my data, homeowner survey data, sphere of influence, past client, active, sold, expired, terminated, or community event database. And then she say, I layer this on a map after cross-referencing the numbers with the do not call list for lead generation. Okay, very cool. Very interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work. I'd be interested to learn more about that, Katie.
I know, right? It does sound like a little bit of work.
I'm just reading through it saying, wait, what?
I know. It's like, okay, at some point we got to, get some more. No, I'm just kidding. But, it's interesting. Dave Woodson, I love it. He's like, you let me in. Yes. Dave.
We love you, Dave.
Let you in. We make exceptions once in a while, Dave. I'm just joking. We love you, brother. Okay, so that being said, let's come back to it. So let's go back to the referrals in general. So you're not worried then, Josh, about referral-based business going away? Is that what I'm hearing?
I think if you're adding enough value to your database, are you going to lose some here and there? Sure, maybe. I mean, everybody's always going to have friends that get in the business or do something along those lines. But I think for the most part, people still want the human interaction and the expert that is in the community. I don't think that people want Opendoor and Zillow. Is there a place for it in our industry? Sure, maybe. But I think people still want to actually talk to a friend of a friend. Or they're moving, because so many people are moving to Nashville from other areas, they might not know somebody in Nashville. So maybe the reason we started using Google reviews. So they go online. I mean, if you're a millennial or you're somebody that uses the internet a lot, that's the next best thing to a referral is Google reviews. My next closest competitor has about 15 reviews on Google. We have about 220, and we're just crushing it, like crushing. I don't even give any attention to Zillow or any of the other review sites anymore.
Really?
What about Yelp, Josh? Because Yelp's kind of
zero.
Right now. Zero.
What's that?
Interesting.
So you're saying, wait a minute, zero on Zillow or zero on Yelp?
I have plenty of reviews on both Yelp, Zillow, Realtor.com, Angie's List, name them. I've got good reviews on all of them. But when I saw what we accidentally did and go, oh my God, I don't need to focus any attention. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, if Google wants to buy Zillow and all those other companies, they will. And if they ever wanted to get rid of all their review sites, they could. So where do people go when they search for anything in the world? It's not Ask Jeeves. It's not Zillow. It's not Yelp. It's Google. They win.
Interesting. Okay. So bottom line, you're getting some really good results out of Google reviews. So tell me what that looks like. So somebody sees your Google review, then what happens? They just takes them right to your website and you're converting right off your website, or what?
Yeah. Or they're texting us directly, or they're calling us directly. We've had people, we have our office building is just a drive up one level. I mean, we've had people driving down the road and go, hey, they walk in and go, we're looking to buy a house. We don't have an agent. We just Googled it. Like, awesome. Dude. Those are good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome. So when you drive people to that, when you drive people to it to ask for a review, are you sending them a link to your Google reviews, or to go put the review on there, or are you just asking them to Google you and do the review that way? So, and the reason I ask is because some sites have an issue with you sending them a link and then they follow the link there. Like Yelp, for example, has an issue with that.
Yeah, we have all of our review sites on our website. And so we send our website link and they just go there and pick which one they want to do. The nice part about Google, in my opinion, is you don't have to have an account. So some people don't have Zillow or Realtor.com or Yelp accounts, and you have to create an account. So we wanted to make it really simple. And that's why that's another reason that we do the Google. But we ask for it as part of our client care manager, as part of the contract to close. That's part of their closing checklist, is continue to talk about asking for a referral and review all the way throughout the process. And we don't get them 100% of the time, but our goal is to get them at least 60% of the time. And so our client care is asking for it. Our agents are asking for it. We're sending a link out after closing. Like, we work our asses off to get reviews and referrals. But those reviews, when we've done a frankly kick-ass job all the way through a transaction, we feel like we've justified being able to ask for that review.
Yeah, see, that was my question, is when during the transactions are you asking for it? And it sounds like you're doing it a lot of times.
All the way. Yeah.
Well, on average, how many times? Oh, good.
I was just going to say, it's kind of like, if we feel like we're doing a great job and they're excited, we're asking at certain points throughout the process. I mean, we're probably asking for reviews between the agent and the admin during the process, like all the way up until the day of closing, probably 3 to 5 times. Mm-hmm. And then after closing, we're asking for it. And then twice a year, we do a review contest. So we give, like, we'll do some kind of giveaway or some kind of, that people can be entered into it, things like that.
So tell us about that. So if for every time they give you a review, you give them an entry into a drawing of some kind?
Yeah. So if they do one review equals 1 entry, but if they do 3 reviews, they might get 5 entries. If they do 5 entries, they might get 15 entries. 5 reviews, they get 15 entries.
Okay. And
so we make it really enticing.
Find out about that?
Yeah, I like this idea.
I can send you all the whole system and process that we have. We've got it all. It's a playbook on paper, and we have everything as a playbook or a system or a checklist for everything in my business. If I have to do it more than once, it becomes a system and a process and a tool for it. So, so what does that look like? We send out to our clients for that year, or we'll have our virtual assistant go in and cross-reference who hasn't done a review or hasn't done multiple reviews, and we just blast it out to them. And we send, we don't call for that, but we send an email out to them, and they also get a text message. And then it's on our social media multiple times, things like that.
I love this idea. So what kind of prizes do you give them?
Big Yeti coolers, iPhone, whatever, the Apple Watches, whatever they're called. We've Amazon Echoes. We've done all kinds of stuff. So we change it up. We've done a past client that does really awesome art and is pretty well known. We'll buy a piece of her art and do something like that. Just different things.
Okay,
For a while, we got into Yetis all the time, and my admin team was like, all right, we got to slow it down with the Yetis. Like, not everybody's an outdoorsy, wants to have, a 40-pound cooler full of beer. And I was like, okay, well, you can put other stuff in there too. So, yeah.
That's funny. So really quick, you said you had you had all this stuff in a playbook. I would love that. If you would send that to us, then what we'll do is we'll have the team create a download for it so that people that are interested can download your playbook. So definitely make sure that would you be willing to send that to us? I guess the first question.
Yeah, sure.
And then that's awesome. I appreciate that. And then what we'll do is just make sure your contact info is on that, so that if people want to reach out to you, they can do that when they download that. But that's really interesting, because I agree with you 100% that first and foremost, if you guys are going to do anything more than once in your business, you've got to have a system for it. You've got to have a checklist for it. It's not, if it's worth doing more than once in your business, it's worth developing a system that's going to work time and time again. And that takes a little bit of work, right? That means you've got to put a system to it.
Yeah.
And as you go through that system, one of the things that's really important is every time you do it, you should be learning something, right? You should be learning, oh, that didn't go quite as well as we wanted that time, so we're going to change the system a little bit over here. And, oh, that didn't go quite like we wanted, or this went really well, but I think we could take it to the next level by doing this. And you just change your checklist. And that way your staff is always adding value. Each time they do it, it's getting better and better and better and better. And before you know it, you've got world-class systems in place. So
one of the things that we do is like anything that's a process. I mean, we have a video library for everything. And then on top of that video library, there's a one pager that goes with it. And then if it's like an email or it's any kind of like giveaway type stuff, we have like the ad or the email or whatever it is, it's in there with the actual text that they can copy and paste. I mean, we want to make it really simple. Here's what it looked like last time. Here's the text for it. Copy and paste it and do it again. Or we save it as a signature, or, I mean, there's so many different ways we've done it. So we kind of overlapped it a little bit, but I'd rather it that way than not be able to ever find anything.
So Josh, Jeff Moore is wondering the review websites that you use. I know Google was one.
Yeah, they're all out there. If you go to my joshandersonrealestate.com website, there's, I think it's under the About page, and it's got like loyalty program, our careers, and then it's got reviews. And I think it's Realtor.com, Yelp, Zillow, Google, and I'm missing one. I think there's 5 or 6 on there.
And you said that was at joshandersonrealestate.com, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I put that in the comment section.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, and by the way, Wendy asks, what did you accidentally do? You had mentioned something that you accidentally did.
Oh, just, we never really, until 2018, we really didn't pay attention to like Google reviews. And we just kind of got a couple here and there, and we weren't purposeful. You know, before 2017, probably, we got them here and there, but we got really intentional and purposeful about getting them in 2017 and 18. So that was what we accidentally did, was just, we did a review contest. We kind of ripped somebody off as far as seeing it in a different market. We did it, and we got a lot of reviews. Like we got like 75 or 100 reviews from one contest. And we were like, wow. And then the phone started ringing. And then over the next couple of months, we were like, wow, that was a pretty good return. So we just kept doing it.
Love it.
But you can't do it too much. The review contest, you can't, in my opinion, do more than twice a year.
Right.
Because you're already asking them for reviews and referrals, and they're getting client event things, and they're getting newsletters. Like, it's just too much to try to do it quarterly. We tried it quarterly for 1 year. Yeah.
Okay, that brings up a really good question, though. So how much is too much, and how do you ensure that throughout the year you're bringing value and not just asking for stuff all the time? Because I think that's a real problem that a lot of agents face. Is they just ask, and they forget that, hey, I actually have to bring value.
Yeah. I don't know what the exact number is. I mean, they've done tons of studies on it, but I think you'll know when you're sending too much stuff out, or you're sending, frankly, I mean, I'm probably on 50 to 100 realtors around the country's newsletters and or canned emails, and they're all the same damn thing. And I'm like, guys, this adds no value. I don't care what's going on in the real estate market in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I just don't care. I mean, nothing personal. Or I'm getting a KW canned email that's from 17 different realtors. And it's like, I then have to unsubscribe from all of it.
Yeah. How many happy memorial emails did we all get over the weekend?
Yeah. Or time change, or, you know what? I mean, we don't need time change emails anymore. We're in 2019. We don't need time change. Our phones automatically do it for us. It's just not relevant. So like, find something else.
I want everybody who's watching this today, I want you to set yourself a reminder for daylight savings time to send Mike Bjorkman a time text message, Facebook message, or something. He loves it when
He loves them. He loves them.
He absolutely adores that. There's nothing he likes more than a good time change email. Oh my gosh, man, you want to get him sideways, dude. He loves that one. All right. So that being said, we've got about 6 minutes left, and we've got to run to our coach's call. And so, Josh, tell us, in short, in closing here, if you could give someone advice, you know, how am I, you know, I'm an agent at, you know, I'm doing, let's call it, you know, 0 to 50 transactions a year, and I want to get to doing 215 transactions a year. What do I need to do?
you need to go find the person that has a similar business and go shadow them. One of the things that I did early on in my career, I was in Charleston, South Carolina, and I picked up the phone and called Greg Harrelson and told him that I was going to be in Myrtle Beach, which was not fully true. I was in Charleston, but I said, "Hey, can I come shadow you?" And he allowed me to come shadow him. And like, my mind was blown seeing his organization and how he ran everything. I mean, just amazing. So I think you go find a mentor and go figure out what they're doing and do similar. You can always one up things, but it's also just run your business like a business person, not a realtor. And just do the basics. Get comfortable with boring, because success is boring. It really is. And that's why nobody wants to talk about getting back to the basics, because it's not fun. It's not sexy. Just do it. Nobody wants to pick up the phone and lead generate to somebody that they haven't lead generated to in 2 or 3 years. It's awkward. It's uncomfortable. Just own it. I mean, I call clients all the time and go, "You know what? I was in your neighborhood last week showing properties, made me think about you. I haven't done a good job of staying in touch. I just wanted to reach out and see how the house was. If you guys ever need anything at all, vendors, contractors, handymen, anything I can do to add value or help you guys out, let me know."
This reminds
Nobody
me
ever
of,
gets pissed off. Nobody ever gets pissed off at that script, ever.
This reminds me of the Zig Ziglar quote. People often say that motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily. Do the boring thing every day.
Yeah. Or brushing your teeth or anything else. Yeah, that's right.
Oh my gosh, I love it. That's funny. Okay, so, and by the way, I completely agree. You guys, we got to be touching our database on a regular basis. And by the way, when you get a referral, and Misty, Misty's chiming in. Coach Misty Bruton is chiming in about success being boring. Misty, we have this conversation frequently, don't we? You want to talk about a woman who's successful? Holy cow, Misty Bruton is one of them. That being said, one of the things that's really, really important is, what do we do when we receive a referral? And my recommendation to all of you is I pinned it in the comments here. There's a blog post that we did that's 10 things to do when you receive a referral. You guys, you need to have a system for this, because so often we get a referral. We work so hard to get these referrals. We finally get that referral to come in. And what do we do with it? Well, most people don't have a system and a structure they follow. So I would love this. Those of you that are watching right now, type in your screen if you do or you do not. Say, I have a system for referrals, or I do not have a system for referrals. I would love to know. And specifically, I'm talking about, do you have a system that you use when you receive a referral? All right, that being said, while you guys are typing that in, Coach Kelly, tell us in the last couple of minutes here, you get if you could just give us your final thoughts and your biggest takeaways from this call.
Oh my goodness, Josh had so much. I appreciate you so much coming on, because I learned a lot. My goal by the end of this year, and we're totally on track to do that, is to do 200 transactions by the end of the year. And I know we do client appreciation events, but not to the extent that you do them. So really, my biggest takeaway is just being more intentional with calling and reaching out to your clients 4 times a year for the client appreciation events, because that is one thing that I do lack on. We have great client appreciation events, but I don't do my due diligence on reaching out to them multiple times. And of course, success is boring. So one thing that we've learned, it's boring, it's hard, it's totally worth it though.
I love all the honesty that people are showing in the comments here. People saying, "Hey, I don't have a system for that." I love, and then there's of course Bjork when he's like, "Michael Ellickson, dude, there's nothing more lame." Whatever, Bjorkman. We know you love it when people send you the time change reminders. He lives for that stuff. Anyway, that being said, I love that you guys are being honest about not having a system. And the reality is, I haven't seen anybody type in, except for Kelly, that they do have a system for what they do when they receive a referral. You guys, it's super simple. Go to the blog post, clubwealth.com/referral checklist, and download the free checklist. It's free. Download the checklist, and then all of a sudden you'll have a system too, and just follow that system. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's not rocket science. And you can literally just hand that, assuming you've got an assistant, hand that to your assistant and say, "Here, this is what you do when you get a referral next time." And guess what happens? You'll get more referrals because you'll be doing that. So that being said, let's go to final thoughts. Josh Anderson, any last thought you'd like to share with us before we wrap up here?
I think we covered a lot, man. I really appreciate coming on the show and talking to you guys. And if I can be a resource for anybody, or if you guys need anything, have Nashville referrals, I'll be sure to get the playbooks for you guys as well. And like I said, if I can be a resource, let me know.
Love it. All right, Kelly, any final thoughts?
I just really appreciate you coming on, Josh. You were fantastic.
Right on. And Josh, by the way, do you know Angie Cody down there?
Her name's familiar.
Angie Cody. She's there in Nashville, Tennessee. One of our favorite people on the planet. Say hi to her next time you see her. She's one of our coaches down there.
Will do.
And Angie's phenomenal. One of the greatest people you'll ever meet. Just a wonderful human being. And so anyway, that being said, and look at this. Misty Bruden says, we have one, but could always be better. She says, Kelly, I need your ideas. So we'll definitely get you guys sharing some ideas on that as well. And Josh, by the way, you should think about this. Come out to, and I'm going to put the link in here. You should come out to the, because you have to sell at least 150 homes a year to be at this mastermind. It's the mastermind. Hang on, I'm at www.mastermindinparadise.com. And we do this literally once a year. Yeah, so it's a very small mastermind. Every single person at the mastermind, let's see if hopefully that works out and it pulls up the link.
Yep, got it.
Did it work? Okay. So everybody in that mastermind has to do over 150 transactions a year. They're ballers. It's in Hawaii. We do it over a weekend, so you can write off the day of travel before, the day of travel after. You get to write off the whole weekend. We do a ton of fun stuff. Dude, it is awesome.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
It's
really
so pretty. These small masterminds, I learned more in these small masterminds than any other event that Club Wealth puts on, or any other event that anybody puts on that I've ever been to. I learned so much in these small masterminds. That's by far my favorite.
I agree.
Me too. Tons of fun. All right, guys, we got to roll. So thank you again, everybody, for watching. This has been another episode of Club Wealth TV. Shout out again to our sponsor, Wise Hire. If you're not already using them, give them a shot. It's clubwealth.com/Wise Hire. That's where we get our discount. And thank you for that, Priyanka says.
Yes. I love
Kelly,
her.
Josh, thanks. Awesome sharing. Michael, you make webinars fun. Priyanka, look, I got a bottle of Sweet Baby Ray's. You know what it's for. And we'll talk about that later. But that being said, have an awesome day, everybody. Remember, inside each one of you, there's a world-class beast just dying to get out. You got to choose to unleash that beast. So go do something world-class today. Take care, everybody.